How's he doing?
Well, it was non-contact. That's all they would allow him to do. So that, uh, as I said on the weekly, whatever the thing was, I said if we can just play 5-on-0, we'll try to score at our end 5-on-0, let them see what they can do. But hopefully we'll have him for contact tomorrow. But there's no. He has to see the doctor tomorrow morning. I think he has to pass the test, and obviously I guess he would have to have no symptoms after going through what he went through today.
Getting closer, though.
Can't get further away than not playing at all. I mean, you can't. I mean, there's no closer. It's you either have symptoms or you don't. It's kind of a.
Ever had a basketball player? This happens to football players, but ever had a guy miss?
Well, I had a concussion last year, as you recall.
Right.
So it's the second one, and somebody said they had watched it happen. Said he hit his head pretty hard. So, but no, I've never had. I don't know that I've had that many concussions, to be honest with you, let alone the one that has kept a person out this long in basketball. The obvious thing, sometimes, they would say, well, we probably got out of practice today, like, the next day because he might get hit again. They were fearful, but
Right.
with the head thing, that's changed drastically. So that whole thing is a whole different deal now.
How's it been? He's a senior. You said early on he came into camp really in great shape. He's obviously an enthusiastic guy and an experienced guy.
Yeah, it's been hard on him. He's tried to hang in there, but he's, at UCLA SC, he couldn't stay on the bench. The lights and the noise and all that stuff bothered him enough that he had to go sit in the locker room. So, there obviously are symptoms that are no fun either. We've tried to get him some mild workouts, non-contact, just to see if we can get through. And he's called and said, geez, I need to take Tylenol. Now, obviously, if you're having headaches, you can't take something to mask that, or that,
Right.
you have to have no headaches with no Tylenol or whatever you would take. And he called and said, my head's killing me. So, it's not fun for him either.
And for you guys, although he wouldn't solve necessarily all your problems, he's an experienced guy who's smart and tough.
Well, right now he looks like Bob Cousy. We just somebody that's smart, that knows what he's doing, that moves the ball and can run a club and all that kind of stuff. It just gives us flexibility to let somebody else go try to score. And he defends. He's a tough kid. He'll get into and pressure the ball a little bit. A lot of those things. He's not going to provide 25 points a game, but the things that we need are many-fold. But he would really help, I think.
They're really very low on options now, aren't you? With if Brandon can't go and if Krecklow remains out, you've very little.
We have been low for the last month. Yeah. We just don't have a lot of flexibility. It's hard in practice because you can't move people around. You can't say, okay, let's go here. You're stuck with the same 5 guys all the time, which is not bad. Other than the fact that it's hard to hold them accountable for things because you don't, get out of their own. You don't have anybody. Theo's been working out with us when he can, and that's really helped. But Jeff Powers is our backup perimeter player right now. And so he goes in and can play the 2, and I can, move Tyrone to the 1, and then he plays the 3, and that's really what we have right now. That's all I have.
Did they say Christian's surgery went well, and
Yeah.
what does that mean?
ACL, they used the hamstring tendon, I think. He'd already used the patellar tendon last time, so that wasn't going to work. So they felt like, because it was not a very strong knee to begin with, it didn't really swell all up because it wasn't the old ACL just tore, and it was already half gone, not very strong anyway. So it wasn't like whole thing swelled up and all that stuff. So they were able to get in and get that. So they felt like it went pretty well and should be. I mean, it's 6 to 8 months regardless, and then you've got to strengthen back and get ready to go.
But possibly you could be ready to play at the start of next season.
Oh, I would absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the time-wise, it should be.
Through this the stretch you've had, have you been at all tempted to take a red shirt off one of those two guys that you're holding out, or that wouldn't make any sense at all?
They don't help us.
Yeah.
There's
There's
nothing.
no benefit for it.
No.
Because they're both 4s and 5s and.
Yeah, and can't play. I mean, it's not. We got enough big guys theoretically that, you know, with Bach we've got the 4 of them, you
Right,
know,
yeah.
and so that isn't really where we need the help. We need the help on the perimeter.
Yeah. What's your impression of Utah? I mean, they got a win at Washington, obviously. That's.
And it wasn't a fluke. They
Yeah.
were ahead the whole game. They beat them. I mean, they beat them good. You know, they had Arizona a chance to win. They had 2 chances to beat Arizona with shots. They had a chance to tie Arizona State, both on the road. They've played well. They have been very, you know, I guess other than the SC game, that's probably the worst loss they've had. And that would have seemed like the one game that they might have been able to get. That probably took them down a peg. But I think that one of the things they did do was they kind of discovered this point guard Taylor, who really played well against Washington. Now, if they got a better point guard than him, I'd be shocked. And he had not played much up to this point. And all of a sudden, they've kind of given him some more time, and he's just ran with it. He had 19 points. I mean, he was drilling threes and controlling the tempo and couldn't take it from him, and he was really good. And that made a whole lot of difference to their basketball team. I mean, Dean's a veteran player, but he's been struggling from 3, and so they put this kid Taylor in there, and he was really good. So you got Washburn, who's a really good center in there, and you got a point guard. That's ingredients. That's like a center fielder or catcher, I think, in baseball, isn't it? Right down the middle.
Well, that's.
That's what they always told me when.
The middle defense, right?
Yeah.
You at all concerned about Alan Crabb's body language when things are on the court and not going well and he's frustrated? It seems like it's, you know, or is that the least of things that?
Well, Alan has to do more for us. He's got a lot, he's carrying a big load right now, and you know, he's getting held and banged and pushed and all that kind of stuff a little bit, and I don't know that he likes it all that much. He'd like to be open and just shoot shots, and that's just not going to happen. Everybody's going to try to take your best player and leading scorer. You're going to take him out. So part of his evolution is going to have to be toughness and finding ways to break through whatever else somebody wants to do to try to take him out. And, you know, for his future and what he wants, that's got to be something he's going to have to learn to deal with.
When he says they're trying to take me out on every play, and are you thinking, well, of course they are. You're the best player on the team.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
I
is that
mean-
something he's got to kind of come to grips with a little bit better?
I think he's got to come to grips. I think he's got to be a little smarter as to starting to figure out how to set the guy up a little bit better and be a little harder to guard and, you know, start to understand how to create opportunities as a result of what they're doing to him. You know, create contact to get to the foul line, for example. Take him one way and get through. I mean, there's just other things that you have to learn how to do. And so I think that would be something that would really help him. He can't give in. I mean, Klay Thompson was in a similar situation with Washington State where, you know, by his junior year, people figured out, hey, I mean, you can't let Klay Thompson catch the ball. Yet he still found ways to score. And so he's going to have to, you know, slow down a little bit, and he's just going to have to take what's given. Sometimes now he passes on shots that we think he should take because he's maybe out of rhythm, and that's what defense is supposed to do, is get you out of rhythm.
there's times, and I don't know if this is what he's supposed to be doing on a particular play, but there's times the other day it looked like he'd standing. And there's other times he's running through, going by screens and everything, but.
I'm sure he gets tired, for one thing. You know, we've stressed trying to get others involved in the offense, and other people are going to have to step up and score. But you know, still there's a lot of guys that at the end of the day they're looking for Allen to make the play, and I'm sure he gets tired of even that mentality, and we've got to take some of the load off of him. I mean, you know, I'd rather have him take more good shots than people that are not going to make shots take shots. That doesn't help you much.
When you said he's got to do more, I mean, is that a little bit like what's going on with the Lakers, where Kobe's leading the league in scoring, and they're telling him he's got to take on the best defensive guy? I mean, he's already doing a lot, but he's your best guy, so.
Well, we don't do that, but I mean, with great ability comes great responsibility. I mean, he probably could go rebound the ball better than he does, because he can jump and he's got long arms, and so he's capable of going and getting rebounds. And if we're struggling, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's not easy for him, but if we're struggling on the boards, he's got to go in and get some rebounds for us. We've challenged our guards to rebound the ball because, you know, our bigs have not been able to cleanly rebound it.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I know that Utah's first, but Colorado, you got to deal with them too this weekend. And Roberson, how does he do it? I mean, he's not the biggest guy in the world, yet he's always getting the rebounds and gets a lot of blocks and just what's.
Well, he's long and he's quick off his feet, which are two real assets in terms of what you're talking about. But as important as that, he's got a real good nose for the ball. He anticipates where it's going, and he goes and he gets it. So there's a lot of guys that are long and so forth, but they don't know where it's going. I mean, I remember Kirk Rambis, who you guys all remember, was such a great offensive rebounder. He's 6'7" in the NBA, and he led the league. And he had a great nose for where the ball was going to go. So when that ball was shot, he knew where it was going to go. And they did a study on him, and what they discovered was that as soon as the ball was shot, his first step was always to the basket. He always went to the ball. And a lot of guys don't do that. Roberson's a little bit like that. He has good anticipation. He's probably not great when he's locked in. I mean, I think Eustace from Stanford's as good a rebounder when he's locked in as anybody. But Roberson, away from the basket, anticipates, and he's very quick, and he's fast, and he's long.
What's your impression of Colorado? I mean, again, you're looking at the other guys first. They've had a rougher time out of the gate, and they've had some road games, but.
Well, you know, again, I don't know. They had the Arizona game again where they played extremely well and didn't win. If you look at them, I think the same things happened to them a little bit that's happened to us, is that they've had a hard time shooting the ball. If you look at percentages, Dinwiddie, Askia, Booker, Chin, their shooting percentages from three are not very good. Scott's turned out to be a nice player as a freshman who's got a lot of skills, but he's still a freshman big. And they got Roberson. So they lost some guys, but all of a sudden now the responsibility is on these sophomores to shoot the ball, and the ball's not going in like it was, although Chin is a senior. You know, you look and you're amazed at the three and how the percentages are down, and I'm sure that's a big part of it. I mean, they're playing good defense, giving themselves a chance, but the percentages are down.